The night wrapped around the city like an old, tattered cloak, its edges fraying with the weight of 1,000 secrets. Beneath the flickering neon lights and the perpetual hum of electric traffic, a new kind of currency whispered through the alleyways. Dark coin, a digital phantom that promised liberation from the chains of traditional finance. Lucas Vega leaned against the cold brick of a crumbling building, the emblem of a crescent moon embossed in silver against the inky black of his hoodie. He glanced at his phone, the screen casting a bluish glow that illuminated the determination etched across his face. Asset ID 1088771340. It was more than just a number. It was a ticket to freedom, a rallying cry for the disenchanted, and an embodiment of their rebellion against the financial oligarchs. "Are you sure about this?" Elena asked, her voice a low murmur as she stepped from the shadows. Her eyes sparkled with a mix of fear and intrigue, mirroring the excitement that pulsed through Lucas's veins like electricity. "Absolutely," Lucas replied, barely hearing his own words over the roar of his heart. "The Algorand blockchain is bulletproof. It's decentralized. Nobody can control it, and nobody can take it away from us. This is the people's coin." Elena nodded, though her brow furrowed in doubt. "But what if they find out? The powers that be won't let this slide." A chill wind swept through the alley, carrying the scent of rain-soaked pavement and the distant hum of the city's nightlife. Lucas pushed off the wall, adrenaline sparking in his chest. "Let them try. For too long we've let them dictate our worth. Dark coin doesn't just represent a currency, it's a movement. It's about reclaiming our autonomy." The two of them made their way through the labyrinthine streets of New Haven, where the shadows seemed alive with whispers of change. The flickering neon reminded them of the pulse of the city, alive yet suffocated. They passed by a graffiti mural depicting a giant crescent moon, its glow beckoning, even as the artwork crumbled beneath layers of urban decay, a fitting metaphor for their cause. As they approached the rendezvous point, a small, nondescript warehouse on the outskirts of town, Lucas couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. "You feel that?" he asked, his instincts heightening. Elena nodded, casting her gaze around. "It's just the adrenaline." "Or something else," Lucas murmured, his gut tightening with unease. They stepped inside, greeted by the faint smell of damp concrete and the buzzing energy of a small group of followers huddled around makeshift laptops, their faces illuminated by screens displaying cascading lines of code. They were the Vanguard, a collective of rogue developers, cryptographers, and idealists devoted to pushing the Dark Coin initiative. The leader, a wiry man named Jackson, stood at the center, pacing like a caged lion. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we'll initiate the final stages of the launch. We're going to unleash Dark Coin on the world. For too long, we've been pawns in a financial game designed to keep us poor. Tonight, we turn the tables." Lucas felt the pulse of excitement in the room. It was infectious, like a live wire. "What do you need from us?" he asked, stepping forward. "Your enthusiasm," Jackson said, a sly grin splitting his face, "and your commitment. We're on the brink of something monumental. We need you to spread the word and to ensure the launch goes off without a hitch." As Jackson detailed the steps, Lucas and Elena exchanged glances, a silent agreement forming between them. They were in this together, ready to dive into the murky waters of the unknown. The hours rolled on, filled with the hum of keyboards and hushed murmurs of strategy. When the moment finally arrived, Lucas's heart raced. Jackson locked eyes with him, a brief moment of connection that spoke volumes. "Let's do this," Lucas said, a fervor bubbling up within him. The group began the countdown, and as the clock struck midnight, they hit launch. The screens around them erupted in a cascade of data. Dark Coin was live, and the ripple of its existence surged through the digital ether like a shockwave. Lucas could almost feel the energy crackle around him, igniting a spark of hope in the hearts of those gathered. But as the celebration began, a heavy silence fell when a figure stepped from the shadows. Dressed in a tailored suit, his presence was as commanding as the aura of danger that surrounded him. It was Victor Hale, the local financial magnate known for his iron grip on the city's economy. "You're making a grave mistake," Hale said, his voice smooth and chilling. "You think you can disrupt the system without repercussions? You're fools." Lucas trembled, caught between the exhilaration of their triumph and the looming threat. "We're not afraid of you, Hale," he shot back, his voice steadier than he felt. "This is about the people." "The people?" Hale scoffed, his lips curling into a mocking smile. "The people are sheep, and they will follow whoever offers them the safest pasture. You think they'll embrace your shadowy little coin? You're playing with fire." Elena stepped forward beside Lucas, her resolve hardening. "We'll show them the truth. We won't back down." Hale's eyes narrowed, calculating. "You really believe you can change the world? The system is designed to crush ideals like yours. You will be hunted, and trust me, we know how to hunt." With that, he turned and melted back into the shadows, leaving an oppressive silence in his wake. Lucas felt his heart thud in his chest, the weight of Hale's threat pressing down on him like an anvil. They had unleashed something powerful, but it had attracted the very demons they sought to escape. Days turned into a blur of frantic energy and mounting tension. The Vanguard worked day and night to refine Dark Coin, bolstering its defenses while dodging the relentless pursuit of Hale's network. Lucas and Elena became inseparable, their bond forged in the fires of adversity and the belief in their shared vision. But as the walls closed in, the reality of their situation hit hard. One evening, as they huddled over a laptop, the screen flickered ominously. "What's happening?" Elena asked, her voice thick with panic. "Looks like we've got a breach," Lucas said, his fingers racing across the keyboard. "They're trying to sabotage us." The lights flickered overhead, and Lucas could hear the distant sound of sirens, a siren's song of impending doom. "We need to go, now," he urged, grabbing Elena's hand and pulling her toward the exit. They burst into the cool night air, the weight of the city pressing down on them. As they ran, Lucas could feel the weight of uncertainty clinging to him like a shroud. They were fighting against an empire, and the path ahead was littered with obstacles. But for every step they took, they felt the power of the Dark Coin behind them, a tide of collective hope rising from the streets and intertwining with their resolve. They were a part of something bigger than themselves, and as long as they had each other, they had a chance. The final showdown loomed, and with the clock ticking, Lucas knew that they couldn't just run. They had to face Hale, confront the embodiment of the system that sought to crush their dream. "We fight," he whispered to Elena, a fierce determination igniting in his chest. As they stepped onto the stage set for their final confrontation, the darkness around them felt alive, pulsating with the heartbeat of the city they were trying to save. Each flickering light shimmered with hope and defiance, echoing the promise of a new dawn. And when they stood before Hale again, this time they were not just two lost souls grasping at straws. They were the embodiment of change, the shadows rising to meet the light. The Dark Coin was more than just a currency. It was a revolution, and they were ready to fight for it. With every ounce of courage they had left, they faced the darkness together. In that moment, beneath the watchful gaze of the moon, they knew they would either triumph or become legends whispered about in dark corners. But they refused to be mere shadows in a game they had no hand in playing.